Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. And again, sorry for the lack of activity. I had to do a lot of things that had to do some things that had to do with the family, and I have some graduates coming up. They're graduating in about a week or so, so a whole lot of family obligations kind of kicked in all at once, so that kind of interrupted my schedule. And I don't necessarily like uploading videos like on a rush or in a rush, because they usually just don't come out the way I want them to, even though I just kind of throw a GoPro on my head and kind of, you know, talk on a whim. But I would much rather be caught up on what's going on in the community currently, rather than just throwing something out there just to throw it out there. So, you know, I just didn't want to have anything that was just subpar from my standards. And you know, I kind of like to improve every video. So for those of you who are new, this is my 2022 GR86. This is the flagship car of the channel, and it will be for the foreseeable future. So far, not too many crazy mods, which again, that's going to be part of the subject matter here today. Talking about the you know, horsepower. I mean, it seems like that's the crazy thing that's going on today, is a lot of these newer drivers, the younger generation, I guess, is going through this horsepower crisis. And I hope that they're not coming up here, but okay, they're not. They're going through this whole horsepower addiction thing, which kind of baffles me, because as you can see, what I drive, they're not very high on horsepower. And if you do your research properly, you will also see that these are probably some of the best cars ever made. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about reading the brochure and just going off of what you see on paper. For me, it's more or less about educating, especially newer drivers, people. And the reason why I say newer drivers is because I do have 18-year-olds that are getting into driving, that are you know, barely getting their license and everything like that. And I don't want to, you know, for them to fall into the, oh man, this has like 700 horsepower, this is a great car. It's like, just because it has a lot of horsepower doesn't mean necessarily that it's great. It can be, but doesn't mean that it is, and it doesn't mean that it's comfortable to ride, and it doesn't mean that it's usable power. That is the key word, usable power. How much horsepower can you actually use in a freaking vehicle? Especially for those of you, I would say 94% of you do not go to a track. So with that being said, we're going to get right to this video, and it might be a little bit of a rant, but it also might be educational at the same time, so stay tuned.
Hello? Are you paying attention? Good.
All right, let's talk about this horsepower addiction that seems to be going on in the community today. So what I've been seeing, and what funny thing is, I actually argued with a couple of people on Reddit in regards to this very same issue, when one person was, I guess he was promoting his 86 and saying, hey, you know, I switched from a Mustang GT to, you know, a GR86, having more fun, having a blast, whatever, right? No big deal. I upvoted that thing, and, you know, saying, hey man, welcome to the club. You know, you're gonna love the car. It's great. It's a lot of fun. But there's always that one guy, that one troll that will kind of ruin it, and very, I would just say uneducated. All right, like I could say a lot of other words, but you know, some people, I think they just troll just to troll on purpose. But again, uneducated. So he goes in on the on the post and says, oh man, I can't believe that you bought that very, very slow car. You know, I mean, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't want to do a lot of cursing, but he was just like, it's slow as crap, it's boring, and I don't know what you're talking about. It just needs more power, and it's cheap in the interior. I'm like, okay, that's triggering. Let me ignore it, or let me just try to say, hey, you know. So I jump in on the post and say, instead of ignoring it because it triggered me too much, I said, hey, you know, this car is very fun. It's not all about the power, it's about the handling, it's about how it feels to drive, it's about communication with the steering wheel, you know, all the very astute mind educational things that you get out of a real sports car, right? So he goes in and he says, doesn't matter, you know, it's still super slow, doesn't have enough power, and you know, it's a piece of crap car basically. So, you know, he goes in on the car for like, I think 4 or 5 replies, and I'm like, have you ever driven the car? He's like, no. I'm like, then how can you have an opinion on it? Oh, my buddy has one and it's just too slow. I'm just like, I don't understand how you have such a strong opinion and you've never even driven it. So, you know, I asked him, how about you drive it and you give me your opinion? Go to a dealership and go test drive one. No, it's worthless, it's whatever. So I'm like, all right, he's trolling. So is that an 80? I don't know if that was or not, but I said, obviously he's trolling. Okay, got it. So, you know, I've also seen that over the last, I want to say week or so, since I've been watching some car YouTube content. And I've also seen like people, you know, kind of really rank on this car in regards to how slow it is, or, you know, how it's not up to standard. I'm like, I'm kind of confused because what standard is it not upholding? It has the perfect formula for a sports car. So it's confusing to me how your standard is different from what everybody else thinks, you know? Like, so, and most of this comes from people who don't even, who've never driven the car or anything like that. So, you know, maybe I should ignore that thing, but, you know, that fact, but it's just weird how there's a lot of people, you know, because I even get my kids come up and say, you know, when they talk to their friends and say, hey, you know, why don't you get like a Corvette or you know, a Camaro or something? Like, they'll name something that got a pretty decent amount of horsepower. And I'm like, the reason why I wouldn't get anything like that is because honestly, I couldn't even use it. I couldn't use it the way that I would like to use it. I want this car, I want the cars that I drive, I want to be able to use them on the street as well as the track. I want them to be versatile, which is why I go for a little bit lower horsepower cars. And not to mention, I'm the one that wants to get educated, right? I'm still kind of new to this whole performance driving thing, so I want to learn. And learning in a high horsepower car is a little bit more dangerous, you know, than learning in something like versus a Miata, right? So to me, I think it's beneficial for me to start with the, you know, a bare bones, no holds barred sports car. You know, no driver assist, no lane keep, none of that. So the easiest decision would be, what car is that? It's sitting kind of low. Is that a GTR? I think that was a GTR. I couldn't see because I have this dang GoPro on my head, but look, as you can see, the rain's coming in, so I need to kind of hurry up, do what I need to do. But yeah, so I explained to them that, you know, I kind of want to learn with my car, and learning with a high horsepower car is just not the way I would like to learn, right? So, and again, no shade on these cars. I know that they offer something, right? They offer an experience. But when I first started getting back into cars in general, I wanted something that would teach me how Like, I wanted something that could handle well and that could corner well, so I can kind of learn the driving dynamics of a real sports car. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So my thing was, what category would I be in with that? Oh, well, that's easy. It's a Miata or 86, and I almost got before I got this 86, I almost got a GT 86. So, you know, I was already in the realm of what I wanted to get. And it didn't have a lot of horsepower. But it had all the characteristics of a sports car. And to be honest, when I was growing up, a lot of the cars that I really loved, the Integras, the Pontiac, what is it? The G8s were pretty cool. They were like 230 horsepower. I mean, there was obviously some rockets that people modded for sure, but the Prelude is one of my all-time favorites. These are very slow cars, you know, Civic SIs, stuff like that. So the cars that I fancied, you know, they weren't really fast anyway. You can mod them to be pretty fast, but they weren't fast. But they were really good handling cars for the time. And, you know, the average car to us, 250 to 300 horsepower was fine. But now that's like the bar. That's like, you gotta have 300 minimum. And to me, that is selling the newer generation of people who drive cars a dream that they can't live up to. Like, there are even, which is sad to say, there is even a lot of cars, if you follow the GR86 Reddit post, people are crashing their cars like their 86s like it's nothing. We're almost up there in Mustang territory. So that's bad, you know. And with that happening, and the reason why that's happening is because half these people that are getting these cars just think that you can just do whatever you want with them and not necessarily try to learn the basics, you know. So for me, it's all about education. It's all about teaching. It's all about learning how to properly drive a sports car. So that's why I got something slower. And now I'm going into the rant phase for the last few minutes of this video. Now, for most people, like I said, 96%, 94, 96, whatever percent of you don't even go to the track. So realistically, you're not gonna go get you, let's just say a C8 Corvette, because those are actually gonna be pretty competitive here in about 6 months, a used one for like 58 grand watch. You know, a little bit on the high mileage, but you'll probably get a really good C8 for like 68,000 or 65,000. Not too bad, right? But you can't use an ounce of that freaking power on the street because of speed limits. You know, you would literally have to go to the track, and then most of you are not. It's just going to be a cruiser. You're going to be overpaying for a car you can cruise in. Now, I'm not counting your pockets or nothing. If you want to overpay for something that you can just go 60 miles an hour in and then not rev the car out and use the car for what it's built for, so be it. That's you. You know, that's your life. But, you know, most of you mentioning these high horsepower numbers don't even use half of the horsepower that you have in your Corolla or your daily commuter, your Tesla Model Y or whatever the hell, right? So you don't even use half of that, but yet and still you want more horsepower. It has to have a number. You don't even know how much you're really using here. So I could make the argument that you would be, and it's actually a valid argument, you would have way more fun and less horsepower, just due to the fact that you can you could rev the car out. For example, I'll drop a gear right now. Like, I'm in a little bit of traffic, but I can this car revs up to about 7,500 RPM, right? Like, I could push this car if this guy wasn't moving like Miss Daisy, but you know, you can't. If you have a Corvette, this right here would be very, very boring. And quick story, you know, I actually almost bought a C7 Corvette, right? And I didn't buy it because there was something missing. And that little thing missing was, every time I got up towards the red line, I was at 130 miles an hour. Like, it was just way too much car for Now, granted, it was comfortable. It's a really nice GT car. If you just want a daily commuter, it does everything you need it to do. But I wanted the fun factor was not there in that car until you were in the higher RPM ranges. And the gearing is so long, and probably, again, part of this is my fault because I drive a lot of Japanese cars. So most of the gearing is pretty short. You shift a lot, you know, it's more engagement. And if I don't have that engagement, then I'm not really having fun. So, you know, granted, the Corvette is awesome. The one I was going to get was going to be pretty good, but I decided against it because it just didn't have that engagement that I wanted, because the gears, I was in 60 in second gear. Like, I could have, and still had more RPMs to go. So it was just like, okay, let me get on a straight. When I got on a straight, I felt, you know, I felt the fun. But if you're not on a straight line and on the street, like when you're commuting, you're not going to really, it's just going to be stop and go. You're going to go, and it's not going to be as engaging as a car like this. So I think that's all I got. Like I said, guys, I think for the most part, let's just try and educate these newer drivers. It's like, it's not about what you read on the numbers. It doesn't have to have high horsepower numbers for it to be good. And this is not just my word, it's in general. And for those of you who think that you need that high horsepower, ask anybody who goes to the track, right? Ask anybody, what is the fastest car? It's usually not the one with the highest horsepower that's the fastest on the track. I can guarantee you that, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's never the fastest car, it's the better driver. It's always the driver. Get a slower car, drive it fast, you'll feel great, you'll have fun. And again, you can use the power on the street. You're driving it mostly on the street anyway, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to a track. So I understand that part. Why not get a car that suits your needs, but it's also fun on the street? Don't sell yourself short and think that you need to go for a Hellcat or something crazy with the high interest rate, and then you wrap it around a Pole or a Mustang GT and you crash it or something. You know, first do your research, get educated on what's a good car, what would suit your needs, and then go buy that car. I'm not telling you you have to buy an 86. There are plenty of other cars out there you could buy. Civic SIs, there are Veloster N's that are pretty damn cheap, actually, with manual transmissions. So there's plenty of choices out there, man. Just do your research, and don't just think that it has to have 400 or 500 horsepower for you to even be interested, because then, like I said, you'll be doing yourself a disservice. And that's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next one.